The Indo-Naga conflict has been the conflict of self-determination for the Nagas. This is also considered as the longest-running struggle in the Indian subcontinent. Though the Constitution of India provided the statehood to Nagas, however they were not satisfied with statehood as they wanted to establish their independent nation with functional sovereignty. The government of India and Nagas had been indulged in several attempts to resolve the conflict and to end the bloody violence, but no success could be achieved. Therefore, this video focused on discussing the concept of shared sovereignty that could bring a halt if not a resolution to the Indo-Naga conflict. The origin of Indo-Naga conflict. The Indo-Naga conflict can be considered as the internal civil war for India. The Nagas struggle in self-defense against the dominating external aggressor. The Nagas did not accept the domination of the British and had not accepted their colonization and political supremacy. Historically, it has been found that Nagas were the headhunters that became the significant reason of their independence during the complete period of British colonization in India. The Naga conflict had mainly developed during the British rule in India. The British colonizers were mainly interested in maintaining their empire and were not interested in resolving the political or colonial conflicts, when the conflicts were not posing the barrier to their empire. A small part of the Nagaland was colonized by the British and the larger area always remained uncolonized. After the India gained its independence from the British rule, they also received the political conflicts as the legacy of British Empire. Phyobanthung, 2016. The present conflict between India and Nagas is not just the result of a single historical event, but originated due to the consequences of the various events. One such event was the post-colonial settlement between British and India. The Nagas were handed from British rule, however, British could never establish their absolute control over entire Naga territory, to India. Nod, 2014. As history witnessed, Nagas had limited contact with India and handing over their power to India was absolutely unacceptable to them. This had created the clash between the two powers, where one wants to display its dominance and military arrogance, while the other side was struggling to display their continuous existence. The Nagas always feared that sovereignty of India might lead to their assimilation and would also lead to the destruction of their identity. The Nagas do not have anything similar to India or Indians. They have the different religious, cultural and political history, and accepting the sovereignty of India was not acceptable for them. The Indo-Naga conflict had there been due to the fact that Nagas wanted their own identity and their own country. The destruction of identity was the major concern because the Nagas believed that assimilation of Nagaland and India will destruct their monolithic identity. Kakan, 2015. Most of the Nagas were animist earlier, but now most of them are Christians. The British rule ended and the British gave the power of Nagaland to India, which fueled this political conflict. According to philosophy of sovereignty, the authority has the absolute power. Therefore, the concept of sovereignty has been considered as complicated and was not appropriate to resolve the Indo-Naga conflict. Kakan, 2015. The international laws related to India, China and Myanmar had the significant impact on the Indo-Naga conflict. The Nagas are inhabited in the hills area of the tri-junction of India, China and Myanmar, and their region is called as the Naga Hills. Shimre, 1985. Before the British rule, the Nagas lived on a contiguous region without any kind of the national or international boundaries and differences. The various Naga tribes have never lived under one administrative role. The Naga problem has been resulted due to the various international treaties and demarcations. When British took over Assam and signed the Treaty of Yandabu in the year 1826, it resulted in drawing the Indo-Burma demarcation. This boundary passed through the current state of Nagaland, Mizo Hills, Manipur, Kachin states and Chin Hills and the then Naga Hills. Therefore the one-sided boundary line divided the Nagas and resulted in many problems. The boundary demarcation divided the Nagas and also disunited them and reduced their power. They did not have the courage to revolt against the imperial rule. With the departure of the British, the Nagas believed that this will result in their freedom and independence. In the year 1937, Burma was also separated from India, that further disunited their community. The India-Burma boundary problem had also occurred that was unable to be settled by the Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and the Premier of Burma U Nu. They both had been unable to resolve the boundary conflict that had been the legacy of the British government. This has led to the Indo-Naga armed conflict in the year 1955, and the frontier areas became the strategic location for the Nagas. The international law again played a significant role. When the Indo-Burmese relationship improved and Nagas were prevented from trekking to East Pakistan and China. The demarcation of the Naga Hills had resulted in dividing South Asia and Southeast Asia. In conclusion, we can say that the Indians and Nagas share the colonial past and have been significantly influenced by the Western democracy, system of administration and parliamentary system. The recognition of the Northeast India occurred after the India gained independence from British government. This reorganization of the region greatly affected the Nagas. Due to the various policy initiatives and the influence of the majority culture, India, the Nagas were slowly assimilated in India. Sovereignty stated the complete assimilation of the Nags in India and threatened their identity. Therefore, shared sovereignty, which provides functional sovereignty, had been a significant solution to the conflict and a necessary arrangement to respect and maintain the unique identity of Nagas. However, the question remains unanswered: will this solution be a final resolution to Asia's protracted conflict? Only time will decide. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this educational video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more educational updates. Thank you.